I've been working for the man.
I've lived in Pittsburgh and Chicago and Cleveland and Houston and Philadelphia, and then made the round trip back here to St. Joseph, which is where I've been living the last 14 years.
Goofing off, mainly.
Busy, traveling, building, working in museums and science centers, teaching astronomy at a couple of universities, and my writing. So, been very busy.
Sandy, who was a classmate, and I did those travels together. And then about 7 years ago, she passed away. I've subsequently gotten remarried about 3 years ago to a woman from Pittsburgh, who Sandy and I had known 30 years ago.
I went to college. I became a legal secretary for 18 years, intermittent with other office jobs.
I was a groomer, and I am now currently a dealer at a casino in Detroit. I have 3 lovely grandchildren from our son, and thankfully we're expecting our 4th one, our daughter's first, at the beginning of August.
I got into management about 20 years ago, and now I manage a off-track betting site in California.
Past 40 years, well, my occupation is building houses, so that's basically what I've been doing. I'm still working.
Oh yes, I did get married. There's just a minor to Bob Basselman, a classmate.
Teaching school and raising my 2 girls. It was quick.
There.
2 kids.
Okay, I've gotten married. I have 2 boys. I've done a lot of things. I admire people that have been so steady all these years, and I can't say that I've done one thing. I've done a million things.
Went back to school, got a second teaching degree, and started teaching 16 years ago. And the best thing I've been doing for the last 30-some years is raising a family.
I feel blessed in a lot of ways, not the least of which is my 2 children, Brittany and Ben. And in the meantime, I think I've used my 15 seconds.
You have.
Well, I just got back from the liquor store. Or do you want me to start earlier than that?
I don't think I want to go there.
Naive.
I don't even know who she was.
Not quite as awesome as I thought I was.
And I was so clueless back then.
I was an obnoxious, insecure jock.
Shy? Quiet?
I don't think I was a very confident person at that point in my life.
Goofy.
Say this for me. Hot.
No.
Yes. Say really hot.
No. I can't do that. Because I can just see what you're going to do with that. Everyone's going to go.
Schizophrenic.
My art teacher, Mrs. Bingham, she was a sweetheart.
Lloyd McTavish.
Oh, well, that was Ron Wilgan.
Well, I do remember, like in 8th grade, loving Mr. Adkins.
Ron Wobble. Stubby Benton was one of mine. He was a woodshop teacher.
It's funny you ask because I tried. It seemed like every time I wrote down, took the time to write cheat sheets, didn't need them. It's beautiful.
I have to say I probably really didn't, because my grades would reflect that I was a very honest student.
We went out someplace to go sledding down. I can't remember where we went, and everyone was drinking Boone's Farm.
We don't even have time.
But anyway, I went down the hill, and I lost my glasses.
I never did anything stupid, Ann.
Everyone looked at me and said, "You'll drive us home." I couldn't see a thing without my glasses. And I remember, I think it was Carol Reinhardt sitting in the front seat telling me, "You gotta turn here, you gotta turn there." Honestly.
Stole my mother's car. Stealing my mother's car.
We actually broke into the school.
I may have had a drink when I was a cheerleader.
I can't say that I'm proud of this, but you know, we would go down. We would be part of the group that did what was called bushwhacking on Friday and Saturday nights, where you go down to where couples were necking in the cars and shine flashlights and bang out the glass and stuff.
Well, I always liked the football games on Friday night. I always thought those were fun. But then sometimes, you'd leave the football games before they were actually over, and you may have decided to go to another non-school sponsored event. So then you'd have to drive around in your car afterwards and listen to WSJM to find out what the real score of the football game was before you went home.
I was going over the hurdles, and I missed and slid on my ass along that horrible gravel and asphalt stuff that they had there. And the coach had to take his phone and spray my butt to get the stuff to come out.
Miss Rhythms class, and Marcia Dewan was sitting right next to me at the time, and I let one rip in her class, and she made me go and sit down and
Getting caught in the boys' room with Jim McGrath.
well, that's when gas was cheap.
Miss Mack, 8th grade. I was afraid of her.
John Schuster.
Scared the dickens out of me, the old gal. And that one good leg come thumping down the hall,
She was real petite and kind of pudgy, and she would always come and sit on her. She'd sit on the front of her desk.
Oh, Mrs. Truesdale.
Truesdale, that's it.
I missed most of our high school. Probably what I missed.
Kind of being that age and having so many possibilities ahead.
The Fabulous Babes.
Ann, I can't tell you a single thing I missed from high school.
The friends, the camaraderie, the football games, basketball games, good times.
I think just seeing everyone every day.
Probably my age.
I think it was when Jerry Jones was. Remember when we used to do the Suey Call?
One of my most favorite was, and for those who remember the high school, you had the lockers and you had the glass windows above the lockers, was to get on somebody's shoulders and march down the floor and disrupt all the classes as they see it go by. Well, the teacher was teaching,
He rolled down the window and gave her the old pig call, and ran into the car in front of him.
Volume 12.
Once when we decided with Pat Crow to give the finger in a picture.
It was senior skip week. And we had permission from Jeff Clapp, me and Linda Reichschneider, to borrow his car and skip out.
Yeah, it was Pat's idea.
We had this brainstorm that we'd all skip school and had the big book.
Ward Hendricks and I smoked a cigarette in the locker room down in the junior high in 9th grade.
Drove around, messed around. We brought the car back like we were supposed to at lunchtime.
Everybody smoking and drinking.
You know, I never really got into trouble. Didn't get caught, I should say.
I got kicked out of school for smoking on school property.
And the doorbell rang, and everybody's busy, but somebody got up and answered the door, and it was Houston.
4th hour that we decided to take the car again, and we got a note to him in his class. Well, apparently he didn't get the note.
Don't show this to my parents. I'm still afraid of him.
About 2 seconds after we put it out, Bill Warmbine came running down and said, "Let me smell your breath. You're off the track team." Which didn't really break my heart.
He freaked out when his car wasn't there, and what does he do? He calls his dad. And his dad says, "Call the police."
Yeah. We call the police on her. A few times the law's been on my side.
We were throwing eggs at oncoming cars on 139, and we accidentally hit the wrong person.
I can remember getting caught chewing gum by a substitute. Isn't that bad?
And all of a sudden, 5 cop cars had us surrounded.
He put a circle above my head and wanted me to put my nose on the chalkboard. And I refused, and so I had to have 8th hour. Big deal, but yeah.
They took our purses and they brought us to the station, and we had to have mug shots, and they said we were gonna go to jail for stealing a car, and I mean, we were there till 5 o'clock at night, and you know, Jeff's dad finally came and straightened the whole thing out.
You know, knock on wood, I haven't ended up in the slammer yet.
Ray, don't become a photographer.
Take lessons on how you don't want to be.
Anytime you can go on a trip, if you can pull it off, do it. Because you will never regret going. You'll only regret not going.
Probably to hang on to her.
Get on birth control.
Silver Beach.
It's got to be the beach.
I would say probably the beach.
The beach, really. Probably everybody answered the same thing on that one.
I think it was the East Staircase where I first met Stan.
Again, the beach. I spent an awful lot of time on the beach all year long.
I always loved the beaches.
Probably the beach.
Pretty sure it was the East Staircase at the junior high where I first met Jeff Clapp.
I have to say the beach.
Hey, heads up, everybody else is on tape about going back to the beach.
I'm doing the dishes.
Well, so what about you going back to the beach? Let's hear it.
Well, Lions Beach was absolutely our favorite place. We were there all day, every summer. And we'd even go back down there at night and just hang out and goof around. And even when it wasn't summer, we'd very often go down there with our boyfriends and make out.
Mm.
And you being a good Catholic boy, you might not want to hear this story, but I was down there one night. I honestly don't even remember who I was with. And I lost my virgin... Pardon me, I'm choking. I lost my Virgin Mary charm from my charm bracelet. But you know what? I replaced it with this.